Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dishing Drama with Dana Wilkie Uncensored. We have officially moved to Patreon. Here's a sneak peek of Dishing Drama with Dana Wilkie.
Come on, bitch, let's go.
Hi, you guys. Well, John and I have been picking up the pieces from getting waitlisted at the top boarding schools in the country that we applied for. Very disappointing, but we're standing by and we're just going to pivot and turn now to a different possible positive outcome for him. You know, applying to an international baccalaureate local school. What else can I do, right? So let's hope he can make the best of that experience. Very disappointing to say the least, but we keep trucking because life is, full of pitfalls and disappointments, and you just got to pick yourself up off the floor and say, how can I make lemonade out of lemons, right? So we're going to take that age-old saying and put it to work. Is about 9/11 government cover-up theory, mainly because we voted in the Patreon for that to be the next subject matter. So we're doing it. And when I first heard about this, I kind of was like, oh, come on now, this is too much and in bad taste and almost offensive. But then as I dug deeper into what the theory entailed, I was like, wow, this theory has legs. And it made me want to really learn about it. And as I did, I was like, okay, there's definitely something to consider here. And that's why we're going to bother to talk about it. And I think that's why it voted so high in the Patreon, because the people that know about little pieces of this theory were like, no, this deserves some attention because it's not bullshit. Like, there is definitely something to talk about here. And given the climate of all the secrecy happening amongst not only our government, but the UK government and Russia and others, China, I could go on, you really have to be awake right now.
Do you want to know what it is? Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
Because there's a lot of lying happening to us and people are waking up to it and they just want to know information so they can contemplate it for themselves. There was a period of time that people were being bullied into submission on their viewpoints, and that time is up, guys. Time to have your own opinion and proudly state it. And let me tell you something. Our founding fathers wanted it that way. And somehow, I think this has gotten lost in the 5,000 plus federal statutes that exist in the United States and 300,000 plus regulations. And that's just in one area of our justice system alone, okay? I mean, it's pretty astonishing the amount of rules that exist around us at this point in our society, or that I guess had to be created to keep us in line, right? Jeez. But meanwhile, I'm not getting the same feeling from some governments. Like, why is the UK not being transparent about Princess Catherine, aka Kate Middleton? By the way, people prefer to search Kate Middleton and think of Princess Catherine as Kate Middleton. Just so you know, they did a research study with people about this. And so often influencers or people like me talking about this subject matter will use Kate Middleton because people tend to connect more with it or search more by that. But of course, we're talking about Princess Catherine, and I want to give that respect. Okay, so there it is. In this next little segment, before I start the main topic, I'm going to be talking briefly about some information that I found out about Princess Catherine, aka Kate Middleton, and I want to share it with you. So many media outlets released a timeline of all the strange accusations and commentary that have occurred in the last few weeks to do with Kate Middleton. And going forward, I'm just going to call her Kate Middleton because I also want to humanize her. I think Princess Catherine is a little too difficult for people to get their head around, just looking at her as a person. Now, there's many different versions of the timeline of important events to do with the mystery surrounding where is Kate Middleton. And I'm not going to list them all here for you. And also, if I share one, there might be one particular incident left out versus another. I've noticed that there are differences between the lists of what people find important or legitimate or whatever. So what I want to call out is a few things. I want to give you some observations that I've made. And I want to share them with you because I've spent a lot of time digging on this. You guys have sent me a lot of gossip and shows to listen to and news articles, and you've told me gossip you've heard on the ground. I will share that information with you, but I want to give you my take on stuff that I noticed that I want you to be aware of because I don't have a position on this yet fully solidified because I've moved away now from the plastic surgery position because of new information that came out this week. And I'm now moving off that into a new direction, and I want to share it with you. Okay, so on the timeline, there's one incident that really freaked people out, probably the most. And it was dropped by a guy named Brian Moran, who's just a regular guy, from what I can tell. His description says, "What I post is not meant to be objective fact, but a subjective statement of my feelings. Oh, yeah." And he's got like a crown blue and red on it or whatever. Anyway, in there, he says, "My spy in Marylebone," I hope I'm saying that right, "just saw this convoy heading in the general direction of King Edward VII's hospital at 8:30 this evening." Now, a bunch of outlets relied on this in the timeline to say there's something definitely wrong here. The princess and Prince William were at Sandringham celebrating Christmas. So why would a convoy be in this neighborhood at 8:30 p.m.? Okay, so that's where this goes. Now, from this post, people start to change what he says. Pretty soon, it's not just a convoy, it's a convoy and an ambulance, and you get the drift. Now, I also want to point something out. Everybody says that this happened on December 28th of 2023, right? But it didn't because he wrote at 8:30 p.m., right? So his post is at 1:42 p.m. on X. So he couldn't have gotten this information on the 28th. He had to have gotten it on the 27th, which means this convoy happened on the 27th, not the 28th, as everyone's reporting. It just was posted on the 28th, just saying. We also don't know where that convoy was going. There's no proof that it went to that hospital. There was no ambulance with it, although people seem to throw that into the concept of the convoy over time using the game telephone. We see Kate Middleton December 25th, really for the last time in a meaningful way. It's Christmas Day. She's in Sandringham Estate in Norfolk, England. She's accompanied by Prince William, the 3 kids. She's dressed in a cobalt blue coat. No sign of health issues. You guys know this. She's looking great. There's no sign she's going in for an abdominal surgery at this point that we know of because they haven't made that public. Now, some people say, listen, she was supposed to be going to the Vatican in 2024. Prince William and her had a trip scheduled to Italy, and she was going to be leaving soon for that trip. But the truth is that they never confirmed that trip. And in fact, if you go back to the article that's linked to, it's December 22nd, 2023, and it says Kate Middleton and Prince William are set for a royal visit to Italy in the spring and could meet Pope Francis in the Vatican. But as you read further on, it is not confirmed by the royal family. So it is not an official date. It's just like a news story that the Daily Mail kind of got like a briefing of might be happening. You got to go to the fine print. It says, while Kensington Palace has not officially announced the trip, the Mail can reveal talks are underway at the highest level and a date has been penciled in. But again, this is all speculation, right? That she had this trip confirmed. I know you guys are like, come on, there's something wrong, right? And there is something wrong. And now I'm going to get to what it could be. There were a few things that stood out to me that were very odd, that were like legitimate timeline items in the sense that you could prove they really happened. One was that Kate Middleton decided to leave the London clinic the same day that King Charles was leaving his hospital, which would mean the photographers wouldn't catch Kate Middleton leaving. And her assistant of 10 years brought all of her flowers and everything home for her. So that was something that I found interesting, that they didn't want any photography on Kate for sure that day, and it was planned accordingly. Now, we've received one really sketch picture where she seems to be imposed into the picture That's my gut on it. Like, she's put in the picture versus it being a real picture. It was assembled for the purposes of Mother's Day. Because I would imagine, knowing publicity like I do, that they were like, we cannot not have a picture go out on Mother's Day because it will alert people that something is wrong. But then it doesn't explain the terrible picture that we get, because obviously pro PR people would never put that out there because it would create a media storm. And so that wasn't adding up to anybody. But I do have an answer for that in a minute, a possible answer. And then there was a picture where she's looking away, and it does look like it was photoshopped. And it's weird because, like, why the hell would you be looking away when you know the world is thundering for a picture of you and you want to give them peace? It's almost like an FU to the whole situation with the press. And Prince William is very stoic in the picture next to her. And it's been stated that she was on her way to a personal appointment from a source. A lot of sources flying around. But it turns out that this photo, we believe, is real because of the fact that the photographer spoke out just like a day ago and said, no, I really did take that picture. I was tasked with getting a picture of William as he was leaving early in the morning to attend this event, and that was a really important assignment. What he exactly said was, the cars left Windsor Castle and I photographed them a short distance away on Datchet High Street, outside number 39 to be precise, he said. Car shots are unpredictable at the best of times, and with some reflection on the glass, it can be difficult. He added, as it happened, it wasn't until I checked on the back of the camera to make sure I had a frame of Prince William that I realized there was someone sitting next to him. It turned out to be Catherine. Now, you could take this in two ways. One is that, oh, well, there it is, slam dunk. It was a real picture. She was in the car. Definitely doesn't show a warm and fuzzy between her and Prince William, but we see her. She's okay. There she is. That's one take. Another take is that they were caught off guard and doesn't show anything, but that she's there with William, as you'd expect. And another take, more aggressive, is that sometimes it's been alleged by ex-agents of MI6 that paparazzi are MI6 agents, and they will pretty much do what is needed in that role and capacity to tell narratives and also spy on people in plain sight, and or, I suppose, do whatever the government feels is needed to be done to protect the royal family and the state as a whole. I mean, there's this famous photographer that was accused of being an MI6 agent that was found burnt out in his car in 2012. He was implicated in Princess Diana's death scenario. And if you want more information about that, go in the Patreon, and I did a confessional video about Princess Diana's death, and the details surrounding all the evidence about this man is in there. And there's a lot of evidence to say that he was talking about the fact that he was helping MI6 and a part of it. And then there's been agents that have left the department and have said that they know for a fact that paparazzis have been enrolled as agents, either, formally trained or just inducted for the purposes of what they need, as an agency. So I'm just throwing that out there. So let's go back to the take that William and Kate look a little estranged in this quick picture. And let's take the approach that the picture's real. William and Kate do not look close in this picture, given that she's just come out of the hospital and all of these things. And so it's very strange. And you add to that Prince William only went to see her once in 2 weeks while she was in the London clinic. And you add to that the rumors of infidelity that certainly have been flying around. And I would say that most of the press believe they're true, okay? That he has had some sort of extramarital affairs. And if you ask a press person, they're going to say, I believe that, right? A lot of them. And we're not getting a real sense of a connection between Prince William and Princess Catherine, Kate Middleton. We're getting this really awful depiction of their relationship in a way, because why wouldn't he be at the hospital more? Even if it was her recovering from, let's say, a plastic surgery or something, why wouldn't he go more than once in 2 weeks? It's weird. And I know he has a lot of kids, and I know Kate Middleton wouldn't damage her kids in any way. She's obsessed with her kids. So I said to the Patreons, whatever theory you end up falling upon, you have to remember that Kate Middleton would never put her kids in jeopardy. She also and Prince William also are managed by MI6 and MI8. So it's not like, some real sinister thing could be happening. The Secret Service of the UK are not notified about. They know everything going on with the royal family. So you have to keep that in mind too. I also reminded the patrons that Prince William spent 3 consecutive weeks with MI5, MI6, and GCHQ, which is the FBI, CIA, and NSA in America. And in this internship, he learned everything you need to know as somebody who's going to, first of all, be in the UK military like he was, but also take a huge, important leadership position, aka king of a country. Think about that for a minute. So there's that. Now, there were loads of rumors back in 2023 that after Spare was released and Prince Harry said that he got in a fist fight with Prince William, that it was possible that Prince William was mentally and physically abusive to Kate Middleton. And those rumors were never addressed by the press, although supposedly sources close to the royal family were murmuring about this, that there was some abuse happening in the home, and Kate Middleton's mental state was not good. And that would have not made any impression on me. And I would have said, that's a bunch of bullshit. Like 2 brothers having a physical altercation over women isn't like surprising or, unusual in real life. In imaginary kingdom land, royal bullshit, I could see where you'd go, that couldn't have happened. But in real life, it happens. Okay. And they're real. They're human beings, which they've definitely demonstrated to us at this point, which the Queen would be really pissed about. But they've lost their symbolic status to a degree, and they've been degraded down to human being level, which is never what you want for a monarchy. But sadly, that's what's happening with all this press flying around and human-like attribute stories coming out. So I would have really disregarded this, but what shocked me about these rumors were they happened in 2023 before there was any inclination of an issue with Kate Middleton. Now, some people have speculated that King Charles' cancer is more serious than they're letting on, and the king, dare I say it, could be dying. And the press do not want that out there for multiple reasons, but the stability of the monarchy most important, because they just spent an enormous amount of money making King Charles the king. Then to have this happen and another monarch have to be crowned so quickly after King Charles, it's like not ideal. Let's just say that. I mean, and that's a really insensitive way of looking at it. But unfortunately, there are 2 ways at looking at the royal family. One is a very humanized way, and another is that they're symbols, and the taxpayers pay for their stuff, and they have a role to play in public life, and they belong to the people, and all this stuff, right? So it's really hard to understand why she won't just take a picture not looking that great in an environment that maybe she's trying to get across the line, that she doesn't feel good, just to set the record straight, just to give a little bit of an indicator that she's fine. But what I believe a lot of people on the ground in England believe is that she doesn't want to help the royal family. And so she's refusing to take photography because of this reason, and that things may be estranged between Prince William and Princess Catherine. Now, Dan Wooten, who is very pro-royal family, went on Megyn Kelly and said the following tea for us to contemplate. He said that the UK tabloids and newspapers were not allowed to publish the picture of Kate Middleton and her mom in the car that we all saw, where Kate looked different. And so he said that that was not allowed in the UK. And TMZ published it in the US because it was the US. And so that's interesting that they weren't allowing that picture to be shared. Number 2, he said she is very much alive, but very unwell, and that she definitely does not want a picture to appear, that there's some physical ugliness that he believes that she is actually trying to not be photographed right now. And that the physical ailment might have an issue that she's embarrassed of associated with it. So she doesn't want to announce what that physical problem is in a detailed way. Now, other tabloids have heard from sources that she's struggling with mental health issues and wants to step away from her royal duties for a while, but doesn't know how to do it. So this is basically how they're handling that. He goes on to announce that in the past, other royals have hidden details around their health issues. For example, the Queen died of blood cancer, but that was never announced to the public, although the press, like him, Dan Wooten, knew about it. And so he says, listen, I'm just letting you know, like we all knew that it was blood cancer, but we weren't allowed to say it. And she, even on her death certificate, says that she died of old age. And then he also said that Prince Philip had come down with cancer on more than one occasion and was treating it, and it went into remission. And again, the press were not allowed to report on his cancer coming and going and what it was, etc. So there is a feeling within the royal household that you don't need to go into depth about your health issue, that's like too much information, TMI. Now, he said something else that impacted me, especially since I used to do PR, and that was that they had brought in a new team. They had had a big celebrity team behind them when Meghan Markle and Prince Harry were around. You know, they had these big publicists, and they decided after all of the sort of backlash and gossip that was generated from having these big publicists around, you know, that were treating them like celebrities, that they wanted to sort of get rid of that vibe and go back to a more, you know, small town PR approach in the way that they were doing their PR. And that maybe this smaller minded PR team would do a better job in the sort of more royal, down to earth way, let's say. And he said it hasn't worked and that the new team has actually been a disaster. So as a insider from at least the press perspective, he was like, these new guys are not able to cope with the celebrity surrounding, you know, Kate Middleton and Prince William, and that some of these mistakes are because of that. And let's face it, Uncle Gary from Celebrity Big Brother's testimony that when she's ready to announce it, she will, and she's getting the best medical care in the country, et cetera, seem to line up with what Dan Wooten was saying, which is that he knows that she is very, very unwell and does not want to be photographed, and that there's something wrong, and that she is really not participating in royal duties. And if you look at how Prince William is handling the dates where he's going to be doing public appearances, he's really doing it as a sole entity now versus him and his wife. And there's not a lot on the roster. Like they're keeping his appearances more minimalized, which makes sense if you have a sick mom and 3 kids. Now, as I start to go down the path of like, oh my God, could it be that Prince William and Kate Middleton have this horrifically toxic relationship and we just don't know it? And this is what is actually behind all this. And there were murmurs of this in 2023. I remember the kids, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can go that distance because of the fact that the kids are so important to both him and her and the state. But it is really hard to navigate, is the feeling that we're getting of Kate Middleton and Prince William not on the same page and sort of estranged or feeling estranged to do with this previously released gossip before this whole mess? Or are we just seeing a dad and a father and a husband stepping up to protect his wife and saying, I don't give a shit what everybody wants to see and talk about. I'm going to be front and center and protect her, and she can do whatever she wants right now. She did sign up for this, but she's sick. And so everybody can screw themselves. And I'm not going to address it. I'm going back to Queen Elizabeth's principles, and I'm just going to keep trucking like there's nothing going on. And so I don't know. That may very well be the position that the royals are taking. Now, Dan Wooten said that in the old days, the royals got a lot of advice in terms of how they were going to deal with their PR. And they were made to do a lot of things they didn't want to do that helped keep the story positive in the public eye. But it would appear that that is not happening with the new regime. And they're sort of doing whatever they want, sometimes really to their detriment. So like you guys, I keep pivoting based on new information that comes out. And it occurred to me when I went back over the list of the London clinic abdominal surgeries that they do there, which I told you were very limited. There was only like 4 or 5 things it could be if she wasn't lying about that, right? And one of them was Crohn's disease. And I wanted to bring that to your attention because Crohn's disease causes a few things. Number one, it can cause your face to swell a lot and skin lesions. It also can cause your entire stomach to bloat like you're pregnant from the top all the way down to your lower body, like your actual butt. Okay, I don't want to be gross, and so it does cause really big physical ailments, and there's a lot of other issues that go along with it. And I was thinking to myself, it might explain why she doesn't want to take photos and why her face looked different in the car and why she looked away from the camera that day. I just think that that might be a really good candidate for you guys to consider as a possibility because they're saying she's never going to announce what it is. Oh, here's something else to add to this. Crohn's disease causes inflammation of your bowel. Surgery is usually recommended if medication fails to improve your symptoms. Indicators of Crohn's disease are fever, fatigue, abdominal pain, and cramping. I won't go into the grosser ones. Reduced appetite and weight loss. Having a puffy face is one of the less common symptoms of Crohn's disease. The swelling can occur across the face as well as inside the mouth or in the eyes. Crohn's disease causes nightmares, flashbacks. You find it hard to concentrate. You're constantly worried about potential threats. You're more likely to experience problems with depression, anxiety, and fatigue. Post-traumatic stress may also cause changes in your body that affect your Crohn's or colitis. It could just be a number of things in a perfect storm, right? She gets this abdominal issue and it's really, really serious. Kate Middleton and Prince William's relationship might be also simultaneously having some troubles because of these rumors that came out in early 2023 to do with infidelity or mental or physical abuse. I mean, I've been trying to validate any of that and I haven't been able to beyond gossip. I really have been trying. When I say that, I've been reaching out to people who know people that might know him and but I haven't been able to substantiate any of that. I've been listening, like I said, to press people that do have insider scoop that they can't properly publish, but can speak about a little bit on the DL on YouTube and stuff like that, which is what, I think the best information has been coming from. So, all of those things, it could be a perfect storm of a new PR team, troubles in the marriage, an ailment that she's really, really unwell, a new CEO who's very, very sick at the top of the royal family who cannot, like Queen Elizabeth did, dictate what they do and don't do. Unlike a car, if there's nobody at the wheel, it's just going to drive off the road. And that seems to be what is happening here. I mean, the kids are going to school, status quo, or we would have heard something on that, right? The kids go to Lambrook. It's not like they can miss school for weeks and weeks. Prince William was at West Youth Center playing basketball with the kids on Thursday, March 14, 2024. Hugely animated, happy, excited, like nothing was bothering him in the world. So, that's a definite statement. You can't just ignore that. After the basketball event, Prince William went to honor his mother, Princess Diana, at an event and intentionally did not want to run into Harry. And so they were both scheduled to appear, obviously, at the event to honor their mother, but not to run into each other or have any interaction. So that happened also on Thursday. William doesn't trust Harry, and Harry is upset with William, and William wants nothing to do with Harry at the moment. And I'm sure actually Prince William doesn't want Harry to have any information. And so better just not to run into him, You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's got to be something normal going on behind the scenes. It's just a question of, what is this really unwell illness that Kate has, and can she overcome it is more serious than we thought. I thought you would enjoy another take, so that's why I wanted to spend time with more information this week. Now, let me play you this absolutely shocking soundbite to do with the primary topic of today, which of course is the government cover-up to do with 9/11. Are you ready? For the full scoop, join the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon. The link is in this audio description. It's only $6 a month, and you'll get the best information and tea about the things you care about, and even the things you don't know you care about. What are you waiting for?